All right, thanks for joining media. You can start raising your hand in the chat. We will hear from head coach Derek Fisher, Candace Parker, Chelsea Gray, and Brittney Sykes. We'll start with John W. Davis, Winsider.
Congrats on the win, Coach Fisher. How you feeling?
Good, man. Good. Yeah, I mean, thank you. And yeah, we'll take it, man. Any win at this level is a good one. So
I understand. When you look at the defensive side of this game, every game that seems like that's what is turning the tide. You know, as you go forward with these last 5 games, what would you like to focus on against some of these really high quality playoff teams, you know, who are really adept at shooting and making open threes?
Yeah, I think just eliminating some of the communication errors that we have, some simple things that, you know, just 2 players talking to each other and not assuming that their teammate knows, you know, what she's thinking. I think that's one thing that will help us to get better defensively. You know, also, you know, we talk to our players a lot about how, you know, great offenses, you know, they really stress out the backside of your defense. It's not always that the problems happen on the initial side of it, but your commitment on the backside, what I like to call the championship side of the floor, that's really where games are won and lost defensively and offensively. And we have to continue to tighten up there. And then I think finally, from a rebounding standpoint, you know, we've been really challenging our perimeter players a lot more, you know, to just rebound the basketball better than they have. And tonight they did a pretty good job. You know, Brittney Sykes with 4 rebounds, TRP 4, Chelsea had 8 rebounds, Raquana had 4 rebounds. So those are all good things for us to have. You know, we were frustrated a little bit with the offensive rebounds, but when you look at the fact that over half of Dallas's shots were from the 3-point line, you know, some of those rebounds are going to be a little longer than usual. And so, you know, you have to expect to give up a few more offensive boards in those cases.
David Yapkowitz, next hoops.
Hey, Coach. You know, to follow up on that, you know, in terms of the rebounding there, you know, Christine had a couple big offensive rebounds, you know, there late in the 4th quarter. You know, just how big is she, especially, you know, with Nneka being out, with her ability, you know, to be a presence in the paint and to be a force on the glass there?
Yeah, no, it's been really important for us to have that additional support up front. You know, when Nneka was in the lineup, just in terms of managing her minutes and Candace's minutes throughout this type of season. You know, and so Christine's had some really bright spots for us, and she did a lot of good things tonight. You know, Marie Gulich has had some bright spots for us. Rashonda Gray's come in and given us good minutes in short, you know, stints. And so it's really important for us. And it's hard for those players because they don't get to play consistently every night, a certain amount of minutes, and they don't get a certain amount of opportunity. And that's a hard thing for players to try and stay positive, to remain confident in themselves, and to be ready when their number's called. So Christine does a great job of working hard at it every day. And, you know, we're happy for her that she's getting a chance to be successful out there.
Tavi, H&B Media.
Hey, Coach. You know, I know a win is a win, and you'll take it however you can get. But how frustrating is it for you to, you know, get a solid lead and then kind of, you know, let them back into a position where you kind of have to win the game, you know, all over again?
Yeah, no, it's definitely frustrating as a coach. I think, you know, it's frustrating for the players as well. You know, and you know, it's not easy when you're, you know, you're trying to figure out when to rest players, how to rest players. You know, we can't play Chelsea 40 minutes a game. We can't play Candace 40 minutes a game. And so, you know, we have to get those players on the floor at times. And so that's really where, you know, a lot of our second unit players have to continue to take the challenge, right, and the responsibility and ownership of what happens out there on both ends of the floor. But it also kind of starts sometimes with our starters and our best players. Like we sometimes, I remember a lot of my coaches saying, you know, can't stand prosperity, can you? And a lot of times, you know, we make decisions when we're up by 10 or 12 or 15, that we just don't have to make. It's as though we can't stand prosperity. And we try to, squeeze a pass into a space that we just don't need to at that time. And that's how quickly the momentum of a game changes in sports and in basketball in particular because of the three-point shot. So we definitely have to learn from it. And against teams that are better record-wise or that are just really good teams, those things, they cost you. And, we have to make sure we tighten those things up.
Two more for Coach. Tukney Nguyen, LA Times.
Just a bit of housekeeping, Coach. I was wondering, Taya didn't play very much, I think only 8 minutes. Was that kind of a injury decision or just the way the game kind of played out today?
Yeah, that's just the way the game played out. It's Taya's in her first year and she's learning a lot, and a lot is being asked of her. And so there'll be nights where, it's going well and she's grasping things and figuring out, and nights where it doesn't. And, that's not a surprise. We're not disappointed in her. It was just one of those nights. And I think as we've seen over the last 6 ball games, as Chelsea has gotten into, really good shape and condition, and I think really started to find her groove and rhythm out there. We're starting to stretch the minutes of, Chelsea's in the low 30s now. Candace is playing around 30 minutes, 32, 33. And those are the minutes that a lot of your best players are going to play a lot of nights. And that, now that Raquana's back, when she's going well, minutes are really tight. And without NECA, we have to try and keep some size out there on the floor at times with TRP, Simone, Brittney Sykes. So just the way it went tonight. But, the first time we played Seattle, we did not have a Coop. And so, we're hoping to have her ready to go for Friday night.
Last question for Coach. Adam Grossbart, LA Daily News.
Derek, you mentioned the, Seattle rematch coming up on Friday. This win sets you up for, kind of a battle for first place in the league. Like, how are you as a team? I know you're just coming off this game, but just as a team, how are you viewing that game?
I think, it's going to be a great test, hopefully for both teams. But, as far as focusing on our group, I think it's going to be a great barometer to let us know really where we are, right, in terms of at this point in the season, what level are we capable of reaching in order to play great basketball against great teams. And, they have a great group. They do a lot of really good things. In particular, they're one of the best, if not the best, defensive team in the league. And so they make it really hard for you to score points, and they're potent offensively. So I think for our group, one of the things we've been talking about since April the 26th and even before is really falling in love with the process of becoming a champion. And not being overly focused on the outcome of any particular game or moment or situation, but a real love affair with the process of being great and becoming great. And so I think that's what Friday night represents for us is it's a stop along the way of the process of becoming the best version of ourselves. Of course, we want to win the game, and we plan to come in here to play to win. But we can't hang, our entire hopes on how we feel about ourselves on one game against anybody. And that doesn't change even when we're playing against Seattle.
Thank you, Coach. Congrats.
All right, thank you.
Ice all on me.
All right, questions for Brittney Sykes. We'll start with Tukney Nguyen, LA Times.
Hey, Brittney, we saw on the TV shot, you had a little moment with Enrique at the end of the game. You kind of embraced her, shared a few words. Can you kind of tell us what that moment was like and maybe what you told her?
Oh, yeah. Well, I wanted to tell her at halftime, but, we're playing against each other. But I just told her that, we've had talks about her wanting her team to make playoffs. And all I said was, if you want your team to make playoffs, you can't rest. You got to make sure you put pressure on both ends of the floor and just making sure that she fights to get open because teams don't want her to have the ball. We didn't want her to have the ball, So it's just one of those things where it's like, I know as a friend and as a competitor, she has it. All she got to do is just turn it on. And that's all I told her. Just, hey, get on the grind, fight for your team to make playoffs, and fight like hell to get open because teams are going to want to shut her down.
Chris Camello.
Hey, Brittney, fantastic win. What are you looking forward to with that Seattle game? Almost a revenge game, so to speak. What are you looking forward to taking them on coming up soon?
I mean, I just see it as an opportunity to continue to get better, continue to execute, and continue to play Sparks basketball. It's as simple as that. To any team, we took a loss to Seattle in the season early, and now we have a chance to make that up and even out the score, and that's what we're looking to do.
Adam Grossbart, LA Daily News.
Brittney, big games for you and Chelsea and Candace, not necessarily uncharacteristic for the three of you, but are you taking on any, more pressure or responsibility just with NECA out, trying to pick up the slack?
No, I don't think it's pressure. I don't think it's, we need to frantic. We all have that mentality of next man up and just staying ready for whenever our numbers are called. And we never know what's going to happen, in the moment, before the game, after the game. Like, we never know. So it's just one of those things where yes, we would love to have Neko on the floor. And yes, we're missing her, but we also are going to hold it down for her. And she trusts us to hold it down for her while she gets herself back to normal.
Last question, John W. Davis, Winsider.
Sason Sykes, how you feeling?
I feel like we're best friends.
We basically are. I mean, we went to the same school and everything, so it's all good. But so I want to talk to you about this. So I heard that Brittney Sykes wants to be considered in the DPOY conversation. Now, personally, I've been thinking Candace Parker because she started off leading, but now you're saying yourself. But kind of talk about that, and not necessarily you going up against her, but you being the best version of yourself, being that level of a player.
For sure. I mean, yeah, of course, you got to put Candace in that talk. You got to put a couple of guards in that talk. And I feel like, I should be in that talk of Defensive Player of the Year. It's hard to kind of brag on myself, but I just say check stats against players that I've defended, check their numbers, check the numbers of other teams, check the numbers of our team. There's a lot of things that aren't on the stat sheet that I bring from my team, and I believe that should put me in the category for Defensive Player of the Year. Honestly, respectfully, and humbly. I think I should, because I don't think any guard wants to see me on the court defending them.
Thank you, Brittney.
Thanks, E.
Have a good evening. All right, questions for Candace. We'll start with Chris Camello.
Candace, obviously impressive performance. Again, I actually wanted to kind of shift away from the game. The NBA and college basketball world lost a legend this past week with John Thompson. And considering you being a basketball historian, I just wanted to know, and also you guys were both part of the Turner family. I just want to know what your connection was, if any, that you had with John Thompson and what he meant to you.
Honestly, we've met in passing, and obviously I've shaken his hand a number of times, but I think my favorite player growing up was Allen Iverson. And I just love the fact that John Thompson stood for so much. And he reminds me in a way of, and I don't say this lightly, like Pat Summitt. I mean, it was more than just basketball that he was coaching his men for. And I know D. Wade told me a story about how, if it weren't for John Thompson standing up, a lot of these guys that didn't get initially into college couldn't have gone. And then what? And so I think it's him standing up for players in life. I mean, basketball is a metaphor for life, and it's a vehicle that takes us so many different places, but him being a man that took guys and made them men and taught them about life. This earth was better because he was on it, and definitely there's a lot of players that are going to keep his legacy alive.
John W. Davis.
Candace Parker, I say this respectfully, but you have some competition for DPOY on your own team now. Brittney Sykes is
what?
I said, I say this respectfully, but you have some competition for DPOY on your own team now. Brittney Sykes is throwing her name in that hat or in the ring, however you want to say it. What do you think about her level of defense since she's been in the starting lineup? She seems like she said that no guard wants to see her on the court. You feel like that?
I think that's what I love about Slim is her confidence. She's unbelievable. And I remember at the beginning of the season saying that she reminds me a lot of Elena Beard, just in the way that she moves, her length, her athleticism, her quickness, her ability to really affect things on the defensive end. She's a rebounding guard. And sometimes you get caught watching her because she gets over screens and you don't have to help as much. So it's gladly share. Gladly share that because I know that we definitely need to continue to be good on the defensive end.
Kari Jones, LA Sentinel.
How you doing, Candace? Great win tonight. Derek, first you talk about you all reaching the best version of yourselves. At this point in the season, are you all able to see the capable level you all are capable of reaching?
I think at this point in the season, you're able to kind of see patterns and things that you got to clean up. I'm excited for this team because it seems like we're kind of learning while winning, whereas in years past, we didn't necessarily do that. We want to keep taking steps forward, and we got to clean up a number of things, but, you know, I think we're figuring it out. And I think that's the main thing is figuring it out while continuing to be in games and win.
Last question for Candace, Adam Grossbard, LA Daily News.
Candace, was it important at all just to get a win in terms of momentum going into that Seattle game on Friday?
No, we need a win. At this point in time, it's not, you can't look past teams. I mean, everybody in the WNBA has proven they can beat everybody. So this isn't a league where you can go in and coast or do things and you'll get your butt whooped. So no, this was not, us trying to play hard to gain momentum to go into Seattle. Like, we had to beat Dallas, and then tomorrow we'll prepare for Seattle. But we understand that it is about us, and it's about us continuing to get better. I mean, rebounding, we have to get better at rebounding. We won a championship off of rebounding, so we understand how important it is.
Thank you, Candace.
Thank you.
All right, questions for Chelsea Gray. We'll start with Kari Jones, LA Sentinel.
Great win tonight, Chelsea. Brittney Sykes kind of talked about the next man mentality that you all have. Can you speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, I think we all know what everybody is capable of. Any point in time, we can put somebody on the floor and have full confidence in them. And that's what we've been preaching since the start of season. No matter what game who we're playing against, it's next man up. And I think that's what's got us flowing right now is it doesn't matter who's taking the credit, who's doing what, as long as we're doing it together.
David Yapkowitz, Next Hoops.
Hey, Chelsea. You had a season-high 8 rebounds tonight. I think all of them on the defensive glass there. Usually it's, somebody else rebounding, kicking an outlet pass to you to get the break started. But both Candace and Coach Fisher have talked about the importance of improving with the rebounding this year. So is that kind of something that, you're taking a little bit more on of, being to make an impact on that end there on the glass?
Definitely. I definitely want to get on the glass a lot more. When we're able to get the rebound and push and go in transition, we're very difficult to guard. And so the amount of times we can limit them getting old boards. Our post players have their hands full down low, boxing it out. And a lot of those long shots have long rebounds around the free throw line area, elbows, kind of that upper paint area. So guards got to come in, swoop those up, and then we can go on the break. But it takes breath and energy out of your defense when you have a great possession and then they come down, have an outside shot, and then they get an old board easy putback. We just play great 24-second defense and then give it right back to them. So we got to limit the amount of times they're able to do that.
Sufmi, you win LA Times.
Chelsea, you played 35 minutes. So I was just wondering, from a physical standpoint, where do you feel right now, considering you're kind of at this maybe do or die moment of the season? And also, well, I don't say do or die, but obviously the games are very important toward the back end of this regular season, and you're coming off just a tough kind of stretch with a lot of games. And also, my second question is, does Candace have to donate $50 to your initiative for missing that layup for that really good assist?
She was running. First of all, I'm gonna answer the second question first. She was running back and was like, "Sorry, I messed up her assist like in the middle of the game." But no, it's fine. I'm gonna try to find you as best as possible, and I'm gonna keep throwing it to you. You know, it's a good look no matter who's open. You know, if you're open, I'm gonna try to find you and get the best shot possible. And then about minutes, I'm fine. I'm taking care of myself. We have a great training staff, trying to make sure we're as fresh as possible. Icing, doing a lot of recovery so we can make a push going into playoffs.
Last question for tonight, John W. Davis, Winsider.
Hey, Chelsea, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. So, you know, before all of this happened, you were on track to be an Olympian and play in Tokyo. You know, the past couple seasons, we've known you to be an all WNBA player. Are you starting to feel like the player that I know you are the last few weeks? Because, I mean, the stats are changing and the impact that you're having on the game is changing.
I think people are just, we're getting used to playing with each other, knowing each other's habits, and everybody's elevating, not just myself. Brittney Sykes, you see defensively, she's a force to be reckoned with, and then going downhill, it's hard to stay in front of her, and if you try to, she looked like tonight, she got a lot of and one. So I don't think it's just me getting to, you know, consistently having a great game or making sure people are in the right spots or playing off of each other. We're getting used to each other. We're starting to peak at the right time, and that's what we want on both ends of the floor. We got to clean up some things on both ends in our rebounding, and we'll make a push here in the playoffs.
Thank you, Chelsea.
Thank you.